Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Depends the part of the world you are joining us from. I remember as Chika Austin, and we are here once again to look at the ongoing global tension. Yes, global tension. That is what it is. That is exactly what it is. Global tension. We would have been here yesterday, but two strong factors could not let us be here yesterday. One factor is a factor of normal body disturbances. I felt somehow ill yesterday that I just had to take a proper care of myself before falling back. Then the second one is the second one is what happened, global development yesterday, that I deemed would have been strong to follow up, follow up the global development. It's important we share this program, please. So, and here we are today. This is going to be a calling program, as a matter of fact. In the first place, this is not the original topic we intended to discuss. We wanted to talk something else, quite different from the topic you're seeing today. But for the fact that there is an ongoing attraction, there's an ongoing development that you cannot just relegate that and start talking something else. It doesn't work that way. So, and that's why we have to, talk about it, look about it. Not necessarily talking about it because we have any side of the dividing line we want to, fall into or support, but want to talk about it on knowledge base. Take note of that very strongly. Want to talk about it not because we want to, talk on the side of the American-Israeli side, or talk about be on the side of Iran and her proxy. No. Want to talk about it on knowledge ground. The essence of us talking about it on knowledge ground is because I strongly believe there are thousands of us out there who do not even understand the issues happening, who might not also understand or make a strong projection of where this issue is likely to take the global community to. Very, very important to understand this. And that is why we take time to be posting, back to back about it. We're not posting back to back about it because there is anything, one tend to gain, but for the fact that our people are global people. We are scattered all over the world. I want you to understand this very strongly. We are scattered all over the world, and it is important when things are happening all over the world, our people should be properly informed. I had series of calls yesterday from Gulf states. People who called in from Gulf states, who are not even aware of certain things we are posting, we are happening in Gulf states. Some of them were saying, oh wait, we are told to go back home, those of them staying in UAE, we are told to go back home. We're in our rooms. We don't even know what is happening. We are just watching your timeline and we're seeing videos you're uploading. We're seeing pictures you're uploading, letting us know things that are happening in particular places. That is the sense of media. An ideal media saves a population because you need awareness, you need information to know what is going on at a particular time. And that helps you in planning your day, planning your week, planning your months. Very, very important. So that is why we do what we do, especially on global stage, to guide our people. Currently, should I say, unfortunately, we do not have a strong state-managed risk indicator, unlike most countries. Most countries have designed a system when there is a high risk, they even beam the private phones of their citizens all over the world. Countries have designed such system. When there is a risk, even in a country where they find themselves, they reach out to them privately and said, you have to start making this preparation. You have to relocate from this place and gather so place for easy evacuation in case the risk advances. But now we do not have such system. And whenever there is a global crisis, it falls more on our own people, especially the Igbo nation, because we are scattered all over the world. So if we don't have such advanced system, we should have platforms where our people can be called to order and said to them, see, if you're planning to make a business trip in so region from now to the next 6 months, you better reconsider it. You better review it. Because what we are seeing, what we are projecting is this, that there is high risk of you even losing your life and your money. Nobody can do it for us. It is we that will do it for us. And that is why we do what we do. That is why we always bring to limelight the consciousness of global developments to our people. I realized between yesterday and today, because I do make a scrutiny of followers, my followership base, and I realized from yesterday to today, I have more followers from Middle East than even Africans, because I take serious consciousness of that, of who follows me, region, who follows me, because I want to understand why there should be high followership from this place. It's part of the analysis I make at personal level. And I realized from yesterday alone, I have had an increased followership from Middle East region. Arab, Persian, Turks, Jews and all the rest of them. Because why the problem is going on in that region, most of them, the government have restricted access to certain information. And the mind of a man is designed to be curious. So everybody is just scouting to see, where do we get it? Where do we understand what is going on? Where do we understand where is being incinerated? And in so doing, there is a scramble. There's a quest to seek where to pick information. So let our people understand something. It's very important. We are entering through a difficult global situation, a global dimension. It is a serious. If you like, you take it. If you like, you do not take it. Nobody can predict accurately where everything's ending, because so far we are tracking the mood, the tune of certain powers, global powers. We understand their languages, we understand their tune, and some of them are sending a very wrong signal out there, a very disturbing one. You might not really understand it because we are not trained to understand state languages. When state actors speak certain languages, you might not really understand it. But we take into cognizance what their languages portray. We take serious cognizance to that. So far so good. Let us look at what is happening in Middle East. The attack that has happened within 24 hours have been so devastating. Very, very devastating. Casualties, especially on the side of Iran, on the side of Israel. America seems not to, though some of the reports we are reading is that America is trying to manage the report of certain casualties they have had because they have bases scattered all over that region. But at official level, America have never reported any casualty. Very, very important to understand that. But Israel, I think over 7. Iran is really, really on the high side, to the point of having a certain key leaders of Iran killed. So you can understand what that is happening. Now, what are the bases of this conflict? And also we are going to make a projection. What is the possibility? Where is this conflict likely to take the world into? Because it's only when we understand the projection, even though we don't have 100% accuracy in our projection, but when we have up to 70-80 projection and say this is likely where the conflict is going to take the people of the world into, then it will help us to manage, program, arrange, define our plans. Very, very important to understand that. Very, very important to understand that. Okay. While I'm talking, I will also, if there are developing stories or news, we will also let know. But so far so good. We're having official that death toll in Israel have risen to 10 persons. It's quite unfortunate. 10 persons have lost their life. And also, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian is likely to speak to the Iranians in few moments. So the president of Iran will be speaking. And while we're also discussing, we'll be also be, following up that. So this is what it is. It's quite unfortunate. Iranian missile struck a residential building in central Israel, a residential building. So civilian casualties are really, 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 are really, really, really recording the unfortunate situation. You see, when we say war is not really, really helpful to the civilians, people tend not to understand. Even the soldiers who are victims, it's still not a good thing. Because in most cases, politicians who push the world or who push their societies into war do not have anything to lose. It is purely a civilian issue in most cases. So let's look at the conflict. It is a call-in program. You definitely call in and express your mind. Let's look at the conflict going on in Middle East. Middle East have been an epicenter of tension. Middle East have been an epicenter of tension. Middle East have been a region that several wars have been fought. And is a region that has a very deep divisive composition. If you look at Middle East, for instance, you have Arabs, which are mainly found within the Gulf region, Not that you don't see them outside the Gulf region, but they are mainly found in the Gulf region. Apart from the Arabs, you also have the Persians. Iranians are Persians, mainly Persians. Not that there are no other ethnic compositions in Iran, but Iranians are mainly dominated by Persians. Now you have others, you have the Turks, where you find them mainly in Turkey. You have the Kurdish. You have a lot of ethnic. You have the Jews in Israel, as the case may be. This is how, on the ethnic line, how divided the region is. Now, on the religious aspect, you also have a very sharp divided lines. For instance, Middle East could be said to be dominated by Islam, no doubt about it. But when you also look at the Islam in Middle East, you understand that it's also a religion of this strong disagreement amongst them. For instance, if you look at the religions or the Islam obtainable or seen in the Gulf, you have the Sunni Islam dominating in Gulf states. When I talk about Gulf states, I'm talking about UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Bahrain, and all the rest of them, These are where you see Sunni Islam. Then you look at across, you also see Shiite Islam dominating you see them heavily in Iran. They are also majority in Bahrain. You also see them in Iraq. I'm talking about Shiites. But their center of pilgrimage remains Iran. Now, apart from Sunni Shiite Muslims dominating Middle East, you also have Judaism in Israel, which is official religion of Israel, Judaism, or Judaism, as the case may be. Then you also have minority Christian presence in that region. I think Christianity is the minority religion in Middle East, because you have to look at Islam, Judaism before you talk about Christianity. Christianity are mainly practiced within the Palestinian region. In other parts of Middle East, they have a very lower percentage. So, that is what it is. Now, we have a historical line. The State of Israel was established in 1948, 1949, thereabout. And it has never been acceptable to most people in that region. Most people in that region have never recognized the state of Israel. And some of them have gone as far as even declaring, a very hostile position. Like if you look at Iran, is said to have official position or pronouncement by Ayatollah Khamenei, later Ayatollah Khamenei, that one day Israel will be wiped out from the map of Middle East. To Israel, this is an official position of Iran. And for Iran to achieve that, Iran has to maintain military edge against the state of Israel. In terms of population and in terms of size, there is no way you can measure Iran and Israel. Iran is a very big country. Iran is a very big country. So, and the Iran position is based on the fact they believe that Israel does not have the right of ownership to the land she finds herself today. That is the position of Iran. And you can see at that level, Israel and Iran are arch enemies. But it's important to also let you know that this enmity, this level of enmity, we are not there prior to 1979, the Iranian Revolution, when a pro-Western government in Iran was there. Because most of us who were not born for a very long time might be thinking that it has been an age-long enmity between Iran and Israel. No. There was a government of Iran before 1979, Islamic Revolution in Iran, that was a pro-West. So being a pro-Western government, she does not project hostility towards Israel. And at the same time, Israel does not project hostility towards Iran. We're talking prior to 1979. So it was when there was a revolution, Islamic revolution, that ousted that pro-Western government, that Islamic government came in. Ayatollah Khamenei, the late assassinated Khamenei, came in, that he began to run a hostile policy towards the state of Israel. And Israel also started running a hostile policy towards Iran. Very, very important to understand that. And from 1979 till now, it has been each one of them trying to undermine themselves. Each one of them trying to undermine themselves. As a matter of fact, Israel does that in collaboration with the United States. It's always that. Israel has never led a unilateral operation against Iran without, first of all, asking America to lead in most cases the operation. As in the case of yesterday, as in the case of the 12 days war between them and Iran. The one that happened before this, the 12-day war, 12 days war. So, you can now see that Iran has a problem, a Jewish problem, just the way Israel also have Iranian problem. Now, another dimension of conflict that Iran also created for herself is the religious conflict between her and the Arabs. Like I told you, Iran is mainly dominated by patience. Not that you don't have Iranian Jews. You have Jews in Iran. You have the Kurds in Iran. You have other ethnic minorities, but they are mainly dominated by, by the Persians. So Iranians also have another line of battle they created themselves, or religion created for themselves. And that battle line is the Shiite and the Sunni. The Arabs believe that the Sunni Islam should be sustained. The Iranians or the Persians believe that what should be sustained, or what is the ideal religion or version of Islam, is the Shiite. So each one of them, the Arabs, who are mainly dominant, who are the Sunnis, and the Iranians, who are the Shiite, every single one of them run a foreign policy to sustain and establish a strong Sunni or Shiite religion or version of Islam in any part of the world. So while Saudi Arabia, UAE, and all the rest of them are trying everything they can do to make sure that anyone who is coming to practice Islam should practice the Sunni Islam, Iran, in other way around, is making sure that anyone who wants to practice Islam should practice the Shiite Islam. And that became a problem. So to the Arabs, anything that would destroy Iran as a strong opponent to Sunni Islam should be acceptable and taken to heart. I'm just trying to take time to explain to you so that you understand what is going on there, because if you do not understand what is going on there, sometimes certain things you say, people will just laugh at the level of our ignorance, That is what it is. So the Arabs, for instance, if you come to Bahrain population is mainly dominated by the Shiite. Talking about Bahrain, where American hosts have Fifth Fleet. But the government of Bahrain is controlled by the Sunni. So most times Iran has supported uprising, protest, in order to overthrow the Sunni government of Bahrain and impose or get in a Shiite-led government in Bahrain. And in most cases, when protest arises, because Shiites are mainly in Bahrain, but the Sunni are the one controlling. So most cases, when there is uprising in Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, being a Sunni government, a Sunni nation, will send in her forces to go to Bahrain, well, the protesters, or suppress the conflict, because they are afraid that if anything happens to the Shiite government controlling Bahrain, the Sunni government controlling Bahrain, that the Shiite or pro-Iranian government will succeed. And it becomes a problem. That's also what is happening in Yemen. When you see Saudi Arabia, the Ansura, what are they called? In Yemen, you see some of them are Shiite, there are some Sunni. And it is mainly of religious war than the way you could see. So what then happened is that United States took advantage of these divided lines. You see, one thing you should understand is that nature abhors vacuum. And I speak this to our people. Whenever a people in a region establish a divided line for themselves, external forces will definitely maximize it. This also, we are not, yes, is a Middle East discussion, but if we should domesticate it, it also affects us as a people. Because when people fail to manage their religious differences, or when people trumpet the disagreeing line, religious line, what they are doing for themselves is future disaster. And that's why when I look at some of us, some persons are not worthy to be called on these platforms. But when I look at some people who, those days when they say, I mature Christianity, I'm sorry to say, because I understand the vastness, the scope of people listening who might not really understand my language. But in those days, when you hear people say, I mature Christianity, and people talk it on their platform and all this. They do not understand. Parochialism is the worst form of ignorance. When people are parochial, short-sighted, you should wail for them. You should pity. You should cry for them. Because when you establish a divided line, what you're creating in the future is you're telling external forces to maximize that divided line. Some of you were talking, thinking you were bold, you were smart. Nobody could tell you what to say. It's your platform and all this. You are not being strategic. What you're just exhibiting is clownishness. That is what you're, pushing out. And reasonable people watch and shake their head in disbelief. Because you do not live for the presence. If those of them in Middle East knew that a time will come today that they will be facing missiles on themselves, they wouldn't have believed it. So what happened is that United States saw these divided lines. Oh, that these guys, despite they are Muslims, they could die for the sake of Sunni Shiite syndrome. Of course, US have to maximize it. CIA has to trumpet that their disagreeing line. And that is one funny thing about religion. You see, religious people pray. Power people calculate. When you are busy throwing up your religious line, power players are busy making calculation on how to maximize it. And this is one thing you must understand. When you are busy promoting your religious divide lines, power players are calculating on how to maximize those lines. And that's exactly the case in the Middle East. So America tried to convince the Sunni in the Gulf that, you see, Iran, being a Shiite, will do everything to destroy you people for being Sunni. In fact, at the time they promoted this narrative that Iran won, they bombed the Black Stone in Mecca, and they lift it down to Tehran. There were a lot of promulgated propaganda, and fear was instilled in the minds of the Sunnis in Gulf. And you know one thing, when you want to control a people, project fear in them, a man who is living under fear will ask, what will I do to be safe? It's a psychological frequency. When when you succeed in projecting fear, the next thing the people will ask, what are we going to be saved? Then whatever you present to them as an antidote becomes an acceptable one to them. It's just the way it works. It's a formula. It's a workable formula. When you come to a place and tell the people, for instance, you want to vaccinate people, you want to poison their system, just tell them there is an outbreak of disease, that one man has died here, another man has died there, one child has died, one woman has died, the other person. The living will ask you, what are we going to do to be alive? You tell them, take this vaccine. They will accept it even though it's a poison, thanking you. You get what I'm saying? It has worked in diverse cases. It has been proven to be effective and workable. It has worked in several cases. So what America did to that region was to tell them, look, Iranians are going to do everything to destroy you. The people began to ask, what shall we do to be saved from Iran? And Americans started telling them, you have to give us places to build naval bases. You have to give us places to build bases. You have to accommodate us. You have to let us do this. You have to let us do that. And remember, these guys and Iran have disagreement on religious ground. Iran and Israel have disagreement on existential ground. The Gulf and Iran, their problem is on religious, Sunni Muslim. Iran and Israel, the basis of their issue is existential. Iran is saying she does not recognize the existence of Israel. And Israel, in so doing, does not also recognize the existence of Iran. So if you look at the magnitude of the problem between Iran and Israel is higher than even the religious issue. The disagreement between Iran and Israel is on the magnitude than the Shia-Sunni conflict between Iran and the Gulf. But because the United States policymakers understand that if they promote the conflict between Iran and the Gulf states will be open for US military installations. And they had their way. Not just for the Gulf, but for the state of Israel. That was a smart game US played. So US began to install, because the Gulf monarchs, the Gulfs are mainly controlled by monarch system. So because the Gulf monarchs were saying, if you go to Gulf states, what you see mainly is dynasty. You see family have governed for over 100 years. So it's dynasty. Like if you go to Saudi Arabia, the Saud family, UAE the same thing, Bahrain the same thing, Oman the same thing, and all the rest of them. So these families would not want their dynasties to be destroyed. They wouldn't want that. They don't want anybody to threaten the continuation of their family rulership. So when America now presented to them that Iran wants to destroy you people, impose, so they said to America, what can we do? America said, okay, give us places to have our bases. And like I told you, their problem between Iran is religious base. Iran problem with Israel is existential problem of existence. So if I have a problem with you based on, for instance, our argument is that, let me use Protestants, Catholicism, disagreeing lines. For instance, the Protestants will always tell you this, that, oh, you need to be baptized in the Holy Ghost, have the gift of the Holy Spirit, commune with God and all this, That is them. Catholicism will tell you, you have to be close to the Mother of God, Virgin Mary. So if you find this area of disagreement, it might not even be a serious one. You can do your Mary thing, I do my Holy Ghost thing. It doesn't stop anybody. It is lesser than when I say to you, you living is not acceptable. And you said to me, seeing me alive is not acceptable. So one problem is bigger than another. But what America did was, he understood the desperation of those in the Gulf to preserve their dynasty. And they played into that. Don't say, oh, America is evil, America. No. It's all about interest. That is exactly what I want our people to understand. If we understand the social science of interest, how we play our engagements beyond our borders, we be guided by sense, not emotion. We'll be guided by sense, not emotion. What US played was on the emotion of those in the Gulf state. They allowed themselves to be emotionally embedded, and US have to maximize it. In fact, as a matter of fact, I was told recently by somebody that in US, you cannot work in their secret services, intelligence agencies, without being a renowned psychologist. That they don't play with psychologists. And of course, you can see how it reflects in their foreign policy. You can see how it reflects in the engagements on global stage. Because they look at your mind, they understand what you're desperate for, they understand how you think, they understand the mental quotient at your disposal. Then they have to maximize it. Very, very important to understand. So, they have to now pave way on, let us have American defense system. Let US come and protect us in the Gulf state. Then US has to install the military bases scattered all over the Gulf state. And those military bases becomes a place to checkmate Iran. Through those military bases, Iranians are being spied. Because remember, you cannot talk about military edge without you talking about proximity. Proximity is very, very important in military science. And for America to checkmate Iran, they need proximity. Proximity means close locations to Iran. And there's nowhere they could get those close locations to Iran without the Gulf states. Because there are some states in Gulf states, from them there to Iran is about 30 minutes through the water. The speedboat, you just take 30 minutes, you're in Iran. You can now understand the proximity. So when US now installed those equipment and encircled Iran, they have to start pressuring Iran to drop certain attitude, certain pushes. For instance, Iranians are not, you cannot say their history is a modern history, just like the history of the Jews. The Jews do not have a modern history. They have been there time immemorial. If you look at Christian theology, you see. In fact, the Bible, the Bible recognizes long Jewish history, long Persian history, because Iranians are the Persians, they're not Arab, they are Persians. So even as far back as the time of Daniel, you hear the prince of Persia obstructing the prayer of Daniel. We're talking about over 6,000 years BC. You can imagine. These are people with a long, long time of history. So they have been in series of ancient war, just like the Jews. So one thing they have evolved in course of years is the idea of warfare. You should understand it. They have evolved in course of years in fight. And that's why one of the reasons why US and Israel feels that the highest challenge or threat they have in Middle East is Iran, because the Iranians have built organic, internal military industrial complex. Despite sanctions, you see them, they could build hypersonic missiles. Despite sanctions, you see them, they could do certain things within themselves. So to America and Israel, such a people are not people you have to go home and sleep. When you have a such enemy, you don't just go and sleep. Because sanction could not stop them to get where they are. So you should understand they are not people you have to. And what America did was, get closer to them, encircle them, strategical encircling, and started putting pressure on them to start dropping certain advanced militaries, their equipment they're building. Start telling them that certain missile range you're building, because let us understand, they have been able to develop a missile that travels from Iran to Israel. It's a very long kilometer range. And America said, no, you can't do that. Israel is also saying, you can't do that. Because if your missile can travel from your location to our place, that means one day you will use it on us. And they even step forward to say, okay, they let them get nuclear for themselves. But remember, the fear of America and Israel is that they refuse to recognize Israel as a sovereign state. So if they get nuclear, that invariably Israel will be in a mess. And as a matter of fact, you understand that American foreign policy is mainly pro-Israel. The Jews control American foreign policy. It's not debatable. It's not something you come and debate. America is an extension of Israel in principle. So they said to them, all these things you are doing, you do not have to do it because you are posing a threat to us. But guess what? As very stubborn people, patients are, they say no. If Israel has a nuclear weapon, that we also have the right to own it. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the politics of nuclear possession, you will understand that it doesn't really tally with international rules. For instance, Pakistan is a nuclear possessor and is a Muslim country. And I don't think America has any issue with that, because Pakistan is not rebellious to America. India also is a nuclear possessor, because India believes that she cannot have a hostile neighbor, Pakistan, who possesses nuclear weapon without her also having it as a deterrent. And India went nuke. So if you look at the politics or the possession of nuclear weapon, you also find out that it does not in any way tally or goes in tandem with international laid down rules of owning a nuclear weapon. For instance, recently we had the Russian intelligence agency telling that UK and France are even thinking of handling nuclear weapon to Ukraine. Is Ukraine stable to have it? That is not what they are asking. Can Zelensky manage nuclear armament in his current state of mind? That is not what they are asking. What those who want to hand over the nuclear weapon to Zelensky, what they are only interested on, let us use it to hurt Russia. So in so doing, you now understand that there is not even an ideal international laydown for nuclear possession. It seems to be that if you're good with the big guy who owns it, you are naturally due to have it. That is what it is. So if I'm a friend of this person and the person has the nuclear technology, I should have it. It's no longer on international laydown rules. So that is what it is. And when the Iranians say, no, we are not going to decommission, we are not going to give away. They have been negotiating, and America have been saying, some of your missiles can travel far. You don't have to. You have to reduce the distance. You're building a hypersonic missile that the radar system cannot detect because of the speed. We want you to stop all those projects. Those guys said, no, we are not going to stop. And America felt the best thing to do is to take the war to them. Now, the war is ongoing, is ongoing. And I read some of us were asking, why is Iran bombing UAE? Why is Iran bombing Gulf states and all this? And please, when I open the line for calling, try as much as possible to call, because your opinions matters a lot. Now, when the war broke out yesterday, Iran decided to start attacking places she felt American military installations are stationed, especially in Gulf. Okay, even as I speak to you, former Iranian president, you should know him, under Bush, when Bush was the president of America, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has been killed. Iranian media has confirmed that. His house was bombed yesterday. And U.S. Okay. So Ahmadinejad has also been killed. Ahmadinejad happens to be a former Iranian president. So that is the angle the conflict is going. It's really going in a very, very disturbing dimension. So U.S. now took the war to Iran yesterday, despite the hurdles in Geneva, agreeing and disagreeing between Iranian delegates and U.S. delegates. So when the war started, Iran started attacking the Gulf states, some places in Gulf states like UAE, Oman. No, Oman was lately attacked. Okay, and sorry, I'm trying to read some developing stories. I'm not forgetting. Breaking news: USS Abraham Lincoln have been attacked, according to Iranian Revolutionary Guard, IRGC. IRGC. They are claiming they have attacked U.S. aircraft carrier, that is USS Abraham Lincoln. And if that is true, I wonder how U.S. will interpret that. I wonder how U.S. is going to tolerate that. So you see, it's escalating. The issue is really escalating. And Okay, let's keep going anyway, while informations are flying in. So Iran started attacking Saudi Arabia, U.S. military base in Saudi Arabia. Take note of that. U.S. military base in UAE, U.S. military base in Qatar, U.S. military base in Bahrain. And why did Iran choose to attack? Because Iran feels that these equipments also aided in U.S.-Israeli operation against them. And as I speak to you, Iranians have disrupted international trade on Strait of Hormuz, because all the ships that are coming from Middle East, remember, most of the ships coming from Middle East or entering Middle East are there to load energy products. They are to load oil or gas. And when they are coming out from Middle East, they have to access the Atlantic Ocean, which is a larger water transportation route, through the Strait of Hormuz. And Strait of Hormuz is under control of Iran. What that means is this. I want you to understand, we have now moved from military political, we are now entering through economy. What that means is that global economy is going to be disrupted. Price of oil has already gone high. I believe those of you watching me from US can attest. The gasoline, you must have been told that there's a change of price. So the price of oil will go up because the vessels or the ships transporting the products from Middle East, where you have the major producer of this product, we find it difficult to access Atlantic for onward distribution to global consumption. So certain ships have already been bombed in Strait of Hormuz. Iranian military have already announced a blockade. And that is a very disturbing situation. So when energy price is high, it affects every damn thing happening in the world, including the gari you swallow, including the noodles, the hamburger, whatever you call it, it affects it. Because it is going to disrupt to a very reasonable height global supply chain. And you know what? There are certain countries who have, in Europe, who have diverted their energy source from Russia. They are no longer getting it from Russia because they feel we need to punish Russia. We don't want to get their energy. And they have concentrated a heavy supply line from Middle East. With the disruption of Strait of Hormuz, these countries will really run into a very big mess. So one of those things this analysis is trying to bring to your doorstep is for those of us in Europe, those of us in US might not really be badly hit because she has options. She's a major producer. But those of us in Europe, mainly Asia, should start adjusting our expenses to what the global reality is positing. You have to just adjust. Because a lot of things, if the war goes in for next more 5 days, the truth remains that the world will not remain the same. And for information for those who do not understand, if you look at certain powers on this world and the way they are sounding, you can now understand how things are going. China, for instance, is saying it's unacceptable. And they're asking for immediate stoppage to the conflict. And guess what? Donald Trump, who is sitting on American seat, in fact, as a matter of fact, I extensively thrown my support for him, especially on his first tenure. And I can tell you the reason why I supported, because he was talking about less war, less war, less war, less war. And I understand what it means to have a stable global system. I understand that. I supported him immensely. Most of you who followed me can attest to that. I must tell you that his second tenor policy seemed to be in contradiction to, what he said earlier, because he promised relatively a stable world. It hurts me, for instance, it hurts me when you have civilian population losing their lives. It hurts me, because most times those who create this war do not even get exposed to the danger of it. So somehow it falls back to the lives of ordinary people, who will, go in for it. The wealthy in the society, the rich in the society, always get themselves a secure place, get themselves and their families. Why the families of the vulnerable pay the price of what they do not know about. So it naturally hurts me. Very, very important to understand that. So that is the dimension. So we are moving on the dimension where China is sounding very tough. And you remember some of the accuracy that Iranian military used in targeting those places were as a result of Chinese military satellites, aiding Iranian military. It is Chinese military satellite that Iran is depending in order to have accuracy in target, which means China is indirectly involved in this war. And we have a president in US who have a high resentment against the Chinese. Who knows, he might be trying in one way or the other, because if truly a USS Abraham Lincoln is targeted, trust me, the satellite geolocation of that aircraft carrier might have also been provided by China to the Iranians to have accurate target on this. If that is true, who knows what US reaction might be towards China? And if that happens, we're in a very disturbing world. I must tell you, if Trump, in his posture of trying to prove to the world that America is the number one, because I just, it's not been quite long, I followed up the communication between Chinese government and the Russian government, where they discussed and they jointly said, in fact, there are two shows that there is something the two big powers are cooking in support of Iran. So if that happens, either in commission or omission, okay, even developing story is saying they attack USS Abraham Lincoln with 4 hypersonic ballistic missiles. Okay, 4 ballistic missiles. And also, yes, I can see the video. Sorry, I can't project, but from my own gadget, I can see now. Iran have shot down American MQ-9 Reaper drone in airspace, and I can see it. The video is, I'm just watching the video now. And remember, Iran is relying on Chinese military satellites to have accuracy in all this. So what it means that the whole thing is escalating. America might not in any way tolerate loss of such advanced asset of her. And that is where it's going, the dimension at which it's going. I'm going to bring this thing home because It's not just all about, thank God for the indigenous people of Biafra, because whether you like it or not, if by commission or mission, anything happens to a point that it is escalated that America, China, and Russia decide to go into a full war-scale confrontations among themselves, Africa will definitely feel it. Don't say it's not gonna. Africa is going to feel it. You have a radical jihadist who will want to use the opportunity to pay certain elements, and that is how it's going to degenerate to a global scale conflict. Yes, that is going to degenerate into a global scale conflict. You know, one thing our people should understand is this. When things happen and we're trying to make analysis, we do not end that analysis at global stage. We're trying to see how it's going to affect our people. Because peradventure, Americans say, okay, we are going to push back China. Chinese military, you're providing satellite image of our asset to Iran. USS Abraham Lincoln is attacked. Raptor is brought down on Iranian airspace. And let us punish China. Perhaps America decide to bomb one Chinese asset, even though it's not in China, but decide to bomb it somewhere or sabotage it somewhere. China might go in retaliation. Russia might also involve, and we're talking about nuclear possessors. Nuclear possessors going haywire. Then that is where even our people have to understand what the fate of it will be. Because this is escalating. It's not de-escalating. It is escalating. It is developing at dangerous astronomical speed, which every reasonable person should. You don't say, oh, it doesn't concern you. Is having a global stage scale. The scope is expanding. And very, very important. So on our own as a people, we must also ask ourselves, are we observing? Are we taking strategic? Are we taking a strategic calculation? What are our defense plans? Because you know why serious affairs are happening. Some of us whose hairs are just anti-clock. You know, some of us whose hairs are anti-clock will be discussing issues that are unimportant. Because it is a time we have to be watchful. Because certain people will face, the danger of global-wide conflict. The danger of global-wide conflict is this. Let me tell you something. When the world in Second World War, when the world was in war, that opportunity, some evil people seized that opportunity to commit Holocaust. And it was so difficult to stop. It was so difficult to even notice because there was a larger problem on global stage. So all eyes and focus were on what was happening at the larger scale. But on the ground, in Poland, in Germany, in Austria, certain people were wiped out. People were secretly massacred and murdered over their identity, over whom they are. The world could not notice it while it was going. And before you could realize it, over 6 million people were silently eliminated. Why is it the world could not understand that it was happening? Because the world was more focused on the U-boat, the German U-boat, fighting American submarines in the Atlantic, in the Pacific. The world was more focused on bombing of Pearl Harbor, the American Pearl Harbor. The world was more focused on possibility of, attacking larger places. But evil were going on that before the world could realize, over 6 million people have gone in. So when things like this are happening, reasonable people should be asking themselves, do we have a plan to watch domestically? Because if it escalates, you should. As a matter of fact, we are gradually watching events. If you look at in Africa, Chad have sent a condolence to the Iranian people, expressing, unsupport to what happened. This is what our people should be tracking. This is what our people should be critically understudying. Yes, you might run into problem that the global media will be focusing between China and US war, between China and the Russian, between Russia and US war, between what is happening in Iran. Why your people will be extensively eliminated. And that's why, if you ask me, I will tell you, it is also important our people, especially the leadership of this movement, start taking a strategic position. The danger of this moment is this. Let me tell you the danger of this moment. Every media is talking about what is the escalating situation in the world. If a terrorist kill 5,000 people in any part of Nigeria now, that news will not fly. Why it will not fly is that the world is busy watching how Abraham Lincoln, USS Abraham Lincoln have been bombed by Iran. That is where global cameras are focusing. If terrorists come and wipe entire settlement or village, community now, it is not going to generate an outcry. It's not going to generate a global outcry. Because the eyes of the world currently is just focusing on Middle East and the possible escalation to global level. So a reasonable people, this is the time you have to make a strategic work, make a strategic position, because this is the time run. Because America is busy. America is busy elsewhere. This is more problem for America to face than even talking about Christian genocide in Nigeria. So anybody can be genocide. Now, you live at your own fate. And that's why our people should not be loose-guided at this critical time. At every moment in time, I will open the WhatsApp line for you to call in, especially those who have a contradictory views. That is the beauty of this life. You mustn't agree with me. You must call in, counter me where necessary. And that is the beauty of this life. So, it's important we understand. So, the line is currently open. It's important we understand the time. So this is not a time you just get carried away with global event. In Nigeria, you have a very dangerous pushers. People who believe that this very moment they can, do or undo. They can take some dirty act. After all, the world is busy elsewhere. The attention of the global camera is somewhere. The journalists are more interested on what is going on global, at Middle East. Because, of course, you must understand it. You must understand it. It doesn't matter how popular anybody is. Anybody that dies this time in any other place outside Middle East and the Iranian region, nobody will know about it. Because the global media wants to know what is happening in UAE. They bomb the face of the bomb. They want to know what is going on in other places. You get what I'm saying? Okay, we have the first caller. The first caller, good morning. Sorry, good afternoon from here. Hold on, let me see if I can raise your voice. Okay. Good afternoon.
Can I should raise my voice?
No, we can hear you loud and clear. Good afternoon from here.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome.
Good afternoon, dear friends. Thank you, my brother. You are doing a very good job because this is an aspect of our time. We mustn't negate and overlook and overreact and emphasize one thing or one point or the other. Okay, and there's something I want to tell our people. That's why I want to call, because I've been listening to what you've been saying about the diciness, how unstable and fluid and uncertain the whole affair of men is these days. So why I make this call is to tell our people. I will say something in Igbo, then I will try to explain what I mean in English. Ndị be anyị si na ọnwụ onye nwanne m akpọ m ya nna m, onye na-anụ nne bụ nna. Na ka anyị ghara iwere etu ihe akụziere anyị maka mmụta ndị mgbagote ndị chịrị anyị, ihe a fụnyere anyị n'isi, anyị wee jee were oke sonye na ofu otu ma ọnwụ nke ọzọ. Nke mbụ na o nwere ihe nchọrọ ngwa ndị be anyị. O nwere ndị achọ ama ha na anyị nọ. O nwere ndị achọ ka anyị nọrọ. Na kedu onye ihe eso? So ihe anyị chọrọ ka anyị nọrọ, ka anyị na-ene ihe na-aga n'anya ma na-ekwu na nne ihe anyị chọrọ. Onye chọrọ nyere anyị aka ka anyị ya asị na kụọrọ ya aka kpụpụrụ ya ogbu. Ka anyị ghara nkụpụrụ mmadụ ogbu. And na most Biafrans, ka anyị ghara inye mmadụ obi anyị ka ọ kụwa again. Now, I will go to the English version. What I said in Igbo language was that I want our people to know, like I said, that the affairs of men is in peril and uncertain. Now, what do we do? I will not tell you guys about the campaign we carried for particular presidency in 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
You're quite correct.
And it went as it went. Yeah. And it went as it went. Now, we are hopeful. We are expectant. Full of expectation of what is possible. What is, Now, what I'm saying is that, yes, America spoke about the genocide of Christians, and we agree, we know, we have been crying about it. Even our dean, Chukwu said it. But because of the media preponderance of the West and the Nigeria and the help that Nigeria got from Britain, they buried the whole thing. Now, we have been saying it. Some American, humanitarians or non-governmental organizations are saying it, and now it has reached the government ears and eyes. Very good. But we are still where we are. Nobody will tell us we restructure Nigeria. Okay, we are looking because our people, like we once Justin, we said government don't talk direct like that. Okay, we're gonna look. And so what I'm telling our people, what I said in Igbo is that the person who is my mother's husband is my dad, and is his stepdad. So make you not start calling somebody your dad. Why you know say don't start calling somebody your dad before he knows you exist. There are some things that are happening on earth today because of the uncertainty of our own situation. You don't come out and buy your breast. Why am I saying this? If you go according to international law, international diplomacy, blah, 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 you see that something extraordinary is happening. Contradictory is happening.
Exactly.
But then,
great one.
Then you ask yourself, why are things going where they are? And then you ask yourself, why should I control myself and my authorities and my writings and official and so on? I will tell my people for free. The world doesn't operate on right or wrong, good or bad, evil and the angels. No. What rules this God, I will not swear. God made world. What rules it is interest.
Interest. You're quite correct.
So, and now, in this set of, in this spectrum, what is our interest? It's Biafra. To restore Biafra, our dignity, our originality, our humanity, and our what? Everything that originality, what makes us human being, we want to restore it. And only a person or people or country or group that supports it is who we follow. Don't follow anything in Quran or in Bible. They will not give you food on the table, and it will not give you freedom. What will give you freedom is what a country or group, a person does for your freedom. I have to leave it there because everybody knows what is going on, but I'm seeing some of our people, old people like me, talking beyond their purview and the knowledge even. But we must be calm and calculative to be able to survive. You're doing a very good job.
Thanks so much. I believe you have not leave. You're still here. I am
here.
Yes,
I'm here.
I must really appreciate your rational thinking, because it is only a rational being that can posit what you just posited. And it's very, very important our people understand. We are in a very disturbing situation. The world is going haywire, If we are not strategic, we might really get it deeply wrong. And the era of emotion should be buried. Like you said, and I appreciate your contribution.
Thank you, Mother. She can do.
That is quite, that is a honest position. No permanent friend, no permanent enemy, but we do have permanent interest. And what is our interest? For those of you who would love to know. Okay, good afternoon. Yes, you are live and direct here.
Okay, Mazi, thank you so much. There is a lot of things I would have loved to talk about, but one of the things that just struck me, especially in this last analysis, is when it comes to the war and how it might escalate, and what are the interests of so many nations. Then it just piqued my mind that we might be looking in another direction, not just the leadership or IPOB in general, no, but individually. Why? There is another thing that is unfolding. And if you look at our case during the 1966, 1967 to 70, this is the exact thing that happened. The world was busy in Asia. America was busy with what they call it, the country.
and nobody really, have the attention of what happened. Why even what is worse than what America was doing in Asia was happening in Africa, especially in Ipob land in Biafra. This is the exact thing, and I bring it to because that's really if you look at your future's wife more, you will definitely now know how your wife will be in the future. If you look at same movements of this very evil Nigerian government presently in the East, they understand that this very thing will definitely happen at this very time, and going forward, it will escalate that the world attention will go out from this very,
Christian genocide
and all of those things. And they will use that opportunity to wreak havoc. Anybody that is not taken in that direction should just listen to what you just said now and take their time to look at the Nigerian activities in the East. They said, how did they say this in the Bible? That the children of Issachar, what did they say?
They understand the time and the season.
We should not just play as if there is nothing happening, or we are not in a danger zone or a time of being careful and think that everything is rosy. No, and bear it in mind that the real anger of Nigeria. Anyway, let me start by, you'll see how they make sure that the IG of police never go to an Igbo man. It is a strategic this thing. Even the prison control general refused, even without the federal government making any transit on that, refused to hand over to his second. All those things doesn't happen for nothing. They know where the body language of the country is going to. They know where their anger lies. They know where they are supposed to, or what they are supposed to do, and who they are supposed to do it to. But the problem is that the very people that these very things are being targeted at, they are just playing, Janglova, thinking that there is nothing happening. But I thank Elohim, because if you watch the present, body as in activities of the Easterners, the Igbos, the Biafrans, it has changed from individual discussion to, politics, global activities, and all of those things. And what it is because of this very establishment of Mazen and the kind of that cost it. But we have not done enough, because the activities are fast moving. They are not slow as we are in our learning and in our advancement in issues that is happening. The issues are fast moving. And if you watch how it is now, based on what America did with their Christian genocide and tagging of Meitiala and all of those things, they will not want, want to seize these very opportunities to really make, as in lay a foundation of their claim or their agenda. So what I'm saying is that every one of us should be prepared, especially in supporting the leadership, because we have gone to, we don't need to lose grip. Because in all of this thing, after it has been said and done or been carried out, we must not be set back. We must see that every of our institution, IPOB, Eastern, ESN, and all of those things, especially our people, the safety of our people, are being held to a very, to have. If this whole thing is playing out, it should not be to our own detriment. Mazi, I thank you for this very analysis, because there is more. Because as you have said it, there are so many things that I will opened my mind when it comes to activities. There are so many things that have happened that I did not see in this direction. Even to me, I thought this very war in this thing might just be maybe 1 month or so. But I don't want to start this side or American side, because I'm always concerned of ourselves. Because, and another thing that I've thanked Elohim is that our discussion now is no longer how it is in the past, where we talk, we jump we can grab from the activities going on. So I want everybody, not just only the leadership, because I know I trust this very leadership, but we that is following the very leadership should make sure that we support. Because if we want, that is why They have been shouting, support, support, support. You might not understand it. You might just think it is the usual cry. No, these people also see far, just as other institutions, Nigeria and the global this thing, have been seeing far. And another thing is that if you watch the British movement, they are like hyena, knowing full well that the fight is not just only in the Middle East, because they were not happy in the things that transpired in Nigeria, and they know that their survival and their continual economic stability comes from what they steal from all of these third world countries, especially in Nigeria. And if things continue to go as it is, it will be to their own detriment, just as they are lazily thinking of it. So we ourselves should make sure that we should not allow these things affect us, because if you watch what they say that they are monitoring the issue in the Middle East, and they are, there to protect the Israel. No, these things are just deception. Let it not look as if America is all alone in it, because even if you watch prior to this very event, they refuse America making use of their base.
Yes.
Because they don't want to be involved fully, because there are places where they are looking at that they need to, commit genocide, carry out some activities in order to solidify their age-long grip. So that this very thing is going to affect, I'm telling you that this very thing is going to affect us if we are not careful and do the needful and put ourselves in the right position that we will be able to scale through no matter what they throw at us. Thank you so much. May Elohim bless you exceedingly, abundantly, especially the leadership. That is why I don't miss your program. I encourage every one of us. It is evil for you to come to this very place, listen to all of this, words, and you keep it for yourself. Endeavor to contact your friends, contact those people that you know that doesn't see issues in the direction you're seeing it. Because if they're listening to this thing, they will start having a different mindset and start being open to analysis. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
Thanks, Mazen. I appreciate your time. This is a wonderful contribution from you. I quite appreciate it. Okay, we have Mazike. Are you there?
Yes, Mazi.
There we go.
Mazi Chikasu, thank you so much for your, this one you did today is personal analysis, and it's not easy for so many of us maybe to put mouth fully. Check around it. We have to put mouth at least where we know it. This analysis of Iran and America and Israel. Before I go on, what I want to tell our people, IPOB family, it's good for us to make this announcement publicly. Please, we are not supporting anybody. You have to be diplomatic and neutral. Mazit Kosin, I think you have a degree in history. And when South Africa have their own problem, I think one of the best countries that supported them is one of the Arab countries, which is the ones they are attacking today. Am I right or wrong, Mazit?
You're quite correct.
Okay, so we don't, because of it's Arab or it's whatever we want to support, we don't support anybody. We have to be neutral, very, very important, because we are looking for important something which we might not know where the help is coming. Remember that our own is still pending, because it's always focusing in that particular area. Now, after them, you might not understand what the intention of Trump is all about in Nigeria. So we must be focused, remind what you write on social media, be neutral, because the world are watching. They are watching. You might think that you are nobody. If you write, nobody is seeing you. No. Be watchful of what you write and who you are supporting and what you comment. Very, very important, as you always say. When you analyze your things, you say very, very important. So it's very important for our comrades here, for our IPOB members, families to know this. Please, don't use emotion to support a particular people or a particular individual, because if you go deeply, you might not really understand what it's about. It's It's like when we are in the IPOB, you are always OES member. You don't really know what is really going on in IPOB. When they tell you to come and bring money for diplomatic movement, you will blink. Also, we tell you to come and support the Koso wife. You will use it maybe to go and open a Niger bet. You will blink. Without asking questions, you will tell you, somebody will come and tell you it's a hardcore. So this is what is happening between these three countries. Let us not support any of them. It's very, very simple. I hope I made this thing very, very clear, Master. So coming to what you analyze this afternoon, you can see that this particular country called America and Israel. If not Trump today, you see what is going on now, Master. Do you know that Trump even put 2% of tax to Europe? He put another 3%. You know, Europe was paying 2%. And now Trump gave them 5% to pay. Now they accepted, European Union accepted it. That woman accepted it, he signed it. That man called Trump, I don't know where he came from, honestly. If he tell you he wants to do something, he will do it. He don't care. But believe me, it's not like Bush and the other ones. If he tell you he's coming, he's coming. So everybody have to be careful what we say on social media and how we analyze things, because until maybe we really understand what is going on. Now we have put fear on even China and Russia. It's only Trump that did it. Now even Russia are afraid of America, like before. Upon they are okay now, having everything, but everybody don't understand really what is going on from these particular two countries because of this Donald Trump. So we have to be very, very careful. I thank you so much for this wonderful analysis. That is what we want to analyze and bring our memory back for us to reason like human beings. All these things we are doing today, analyzing what is going on, international politics. I never see all these slaves doing that. The only thing they want to bring is the struggle down, not the DOS. Not the DOS. The struggle in them, they want to bring down. So, like giving you attack, I can see every attack you got last week. That it is what it is. It is what it is, like so you will take it like this, my brother. For our own, it's always more than 2 years now. So, which I've been shouting, nobody understands what is going on. But now, all take on your so much, you will take it like that. So, don't give them much attention. Yes, now, don't give them much attention. You have been doing a wonderful job. They want you to come very below like them and start messing yourself up. You don't have to do that.
Thanks so much. Actually, on the issue you just raised, I will really come to it, but I wouldn't want issues that are not really striking to overshadow this period of mine. But I would definitely, trust me, I'm not the type you just throw up a tantrum and have a good rest. Never me. So I will definitely have a day for that. Okay, Mazi, you are here. Good afternoon. Can we have you? Are you there?
Yeah, Mazi, good afternoon.
Sorry for keeping you wait. We had some callers who were on the line, but I had to come back to you.
I do understand it. Thank you very much. Mother Chris calling from Paris. I want to contribute.
Go ahead.
Following your analysis today. Like always, analysis is very, very super. And from what Mazikeke was saying, he was saying we should be neutral. That is also correct. But one thing I understand about these things is sometimes we can be neutral and you see somebody who has been supporting you, even if it is not openly, and all of a sudden that person started having one issue or the other, and you keep quiet. No sign of support. There is nothing like showing appreciation even for the little one they did. So at the end of the day, if they manage to find their way out of all these calamities facing them, and you eventually run back to them, seeking for their help again, I think it is logical for them to ask you, when we were facing so and so thing, where were you? What was your contribution? What was your own support towards at least our feelings? That one are the things we should always pay attention. Because when a friend is in need, you have to show at least a kind of empathy. But when a friend is at a need or in need, you just push them away, saying that you're interested in your own interest. Everybody is interested in their own interest. And besides, who will you trust in international politics? That's a question we should be asking ourselves. No, we are not the leadership. Because, for example, Russia can give you loads of promises. Israel can give you loads of promises. US can give you loads of promises, just like every other country. But the question still remains, who will you trust? I think this is where the game becomes very dicey, or it requires...
If you... I don't know. Sorry for interjecting anyway. Sorry for that. But,
Mike, go ahead.
But if you ask me, the right language should not be we should be neutral. Rather, we should be strategic. Being strategic, right. Let us promote this word, strategic. When we say neutral, when we say be neutral, you are being defining. You are being obvious, which is not the characteristics of international politicking.
No.
But when you say,
but
when you say be strategic, it is a very complex language. Do you understand me? So the word we should be abreast with or being in tune with is not being neutral. Rather, we should be strategic. That is really what I want us. Because at our level, we might be talking about neutral, but leadership does not use that language. If you listen to leadership of this movement, the concept of neutrality is not part of their policy. Rather, they use the word strategic. When somebody is strategic, even though he's neutral at a defined time, that is strategic. Even though he's participatory at a defined time, that is strategic. So I don't mean to cut you off. I really want our people to understand diction, the importance of diction in discussing certain topics. When somebody says neutral, he has defined a position. When somebody says strategic, he has not defined a position, and that is the right language or terminology to be imported as far as we are concerned. And that is exactly the familiar language of the leadership. Maz, you can continue.
Maz, I give it to you 100%. It is the diction. And this is the right language that the leadership or we IPOB should be using. Instead of saying be neutral, be neutral, be neutral. You can't be neutral. You cannot be neutral. Even when people are showing you green light, and when they have their own conflict, you start to profess being neutral. It means it is showing a wrong signal that there is no trust in what they're saying. And mind you, like I said, France and the UK, these guys are just like China. because I remember Emmanuel Macron yesterday, he made a press statement saying that they are not informed before this war, that they don't have anything to do with it, that he said in open press statement that they are not aware.
Mm-hmm.
They were not briefed. So, in other words, and remind you that Trump and Europe, they are not in that good term like before.
Yes.
These people are really out to sell, they are really even to sell America out. The whole situation, like I said, is very dicey. Mind you that even France and the UK, all their big eyes are towards Africa. This is the time for them to scavenge, knowing fully well that America
is focused,
is involved or engaged, is focused. So, to cut the long story short, I just want to re-emphasize again on this phrase, being neutral. Being neutral is not
we have actually killed that term. At least we have established something. We say strategic. The war should be. We have buried, to the best of my knowledge, that diction, choice of words, and exonerated what is ideal, which is strategic.
Thank you, sir. I yield.
There were.
Thank you, bye.
And there were, Mazi, thanks so much for your contribution. And that is quite impressive and amazing. Okay, we have another caller. Please, the platform is yours.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Happy Sunday and happy new month.
Yeah, I greet you, sir.
Thanks so much.
Am I coming out loud?
Loud and clear. We're hearing you.
Okay. So, according to what you are saying, your analysis is very, very detailed. Coming to what is happening currently on a global stage, you can see that the world order is changing.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's changing.
In a very speed lane.
If this, what is happening currently should happen like 8 years ago, it should be joint operation of
NATO.
Maybe Europeans.
NATO.
Exactly.
It should be a NATO operation. God bless you for that.
It should be joint NATO operation.
Yes.
But the coming of Donald Trump are reshaping the global order.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at what is happening, you find out that everybody is fighting for their interest. If you look at the statements coming from France, you look at UK, you look at other US allies, you see that this is not their normal statement. So on the international stage, things are changing. And Iran is going to have it hot this period because the game is changing. So we let's watch and see how the event plays out.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for that wonderful contribution. Look at what he said before I bring in the next caller in. Look at the striking statement our brother made. He said, prior to this time, and that is, I'm really amazing that our people are stepping up to understand geopolitics. It's very, very important. And that is how we are going to survive as a people. Because that idea, should I say, colloquial mentality we have that everything ends in Afubwe, at Nsoka and that is really, really outdated. Let us understand. He said if it were to be before, it could have been a NATO joint operation. But you can see that Trump is just doing the thing and his, American thing. While the so-called the NATO group, our members, if you look at what is going on within NATO member state, Mazi, still be there. I'm likely going to give you opportunity immediately. I just want to explain what our wonderful point he highlighted. Now, when you look at prior to this time, it could have been a NATO team, but what Trump has done to NATO, pushing their tax, like Mazi Keke said, from 2% contribution to 5% and force them to sign it. Then not being interested to get them where they have lost in Africa. They are not happy with America. So it's going to be a very difficult situation. And that's why we always say we must be strategic in our thinking. We must be strategic in our positioning. Very, very important. Maz, are you there? Are you still there? Sorry for keeping you waiting. Sorry for keeping you waiting, and the platform is yours.
No problem, my brother. First of all, I say kudos to you.
No.
You know, when you look back when you started and where you are today, you will see that consistency, like our leader always say, pays at the end. You know, when you started, there was too much stone throwing at you. Give us the link. Give us where did you get it? CNS did not talk about it. People were, you know, some of them who didn't understand were attacking you from all angles. But people like us who understand also a little bit where you were going, we are also telling you to keep on. That one day they will come to their terms, and you can see that today you have walked in the spirit. The same thing our leader did. He was shouting consistency, now shout until today. Everywhere people are praising him. So that is the way you have also written your name. And what I would tell you is that never ever allow this house you have built now to be destroyed by anybody to make you to go out of the lane. You understand? So make sure that you stick to what you're doing till the end. So to add to what our brother said about to being strategic, like you said also, in what is happening. So that is why we have leadership. And I encourage everybody to focus on the leadership. Look at their statements first. We cannot start commenting individually on what is happening. We should follow what the leadership is doing. If they go left, we follow the left. If they go right, we follow the left. If they stand, we follow the stand. So that will make us to be in one accord. Not that every individual will come in online without hearing anything for leadership or their stand or their opinion. We're now making noise online, and that will contradict issues. So because the leadership, they have contacts, they analyze things before they issue statement. So that is why I encourage. Okay,
Maz, hold on. Let me read out developing stories. As I speak to you, Iran has struck EAU offshore oil platform. That means it has moved to economic sabotage. And you know what that means? Iran has also struck a French Navy facility in UAE. They have bombed a place where French Navy is stationed in UAE. Again, is it really escalating? Okay, and the US is saying they're expecting the military operations to last in a week. So Iran has attacked offshore oil installation, attacked French naval station in UAE, and we're also getting that the Danish shipping giant Maersk has ordered its vessel to stop transiting the Strait of Hormuz. You see, we said earlier that it's going to disrupt international trade. And you know, the Danish shipping giant, the Maersk, is one of the major shipping company in Nigeria. In the world. Sorry for that. So it's really, really escalating. Maz, you can go ahead.
Yeah, okay, that's good. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to say much on what you're saying because you have said everything. But what I'm trying to do is to make sure our people to be vigilant, focus on the leadership. Because what is happening now, like one of our brothers thought that who come in. So for us to get all this in right, we need to focus on the leadership. Before now, they have been trying to distract us so that we have this autopilot ideology. Everybody can come out and say what they want to say, and that bullshit. Leadership is our leadership, and they are the one engineering this. So in this situation now, you know that before now, America mapped out 4 countries that is very important they are dealing with, and they are number 3 now. Number 4 is waiting, which is where you see us. You understand what I mean? So now everybody need to focus on the leadership. please, each and every one of us, Biafrans or Patans or Biafrans, IPOB worldwide, focus on the leadership. In this situation, if they make a statement, we follow their statement. Any order they give, we go. If they have never talked anything, nobody talk. Nothing like we're not supposed to be neutral or this. Nobody talk. Focus on them. Anytime you see them aligning themselves somewhere, we go there. If they comment, we go there. So when we analyze or when we talk as a normal people. We don't have right as an individual to even make decision on who we are going to support because we have an organization. So anybody or our organization come openly and say, okay, we support these people or write a supporting letter or condolence or whatever to them, we follow suit. But if they have never done that, let us also so that is what I want to say. Everybody stay focused on strategies.
Thanks so much. So while we are bringing another caller in, let's just read developing stories. 3 American soldiers have been killed, 5 injured in the ongoing, according to CENTCOM. CENTCOM is American command in charge of Middle East and I think some part of Asia or Asia at large. So they have said 3 American soldiers have been killed, 5 injured. Then we are also having a breaking news, and they're saying this that Camp de la Paz. Sorry, I didn't do good French, but Camp de la Paz, the French military base in Abu Dhabi, has been bombed. So already French is dragged into the war. AFP association, I think AFP is saying Saudi Arabia. I think the caller you have to hold on. Let me read out some of these breaking news. Okay, then we are also getting news that Saudi Arabia intercepted missiles heading towards Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, targeting the main airport. U.S. is also attacking Nazi Abad, central Iran. U.S. also has erased Mahidas, western Iran, off the map. So U.S. have removed the Mahidash, that is western Iran. They have removed it off the map of Iran. That means maybe they want to support peacing of Iran. That is where it's moving. That means what it means is that U.S. is now mapping out western Iran, maybe for their own country, disintegrating it. A lot of things are happening. Then IDF say they are attacking Tehran now, Israeli Defense Force. Then finally, before we give the platform to the caller, USS Abraham Lincoln was targeted in attack with Iranian missile. We did not come close to it and caused no damage. That is what US official told Al Jazeera. Okay, caller, the platform is for yours. Ndewo.
Okay. Mazi, thank you for having me. I've listened to your analysis. It's very wonderful. And one of the callers made a vital point. Remember the Biafran genocide during that period. Israel was in the 6-day war with Arab nation. America was in a war with Vietnam at that period. Yeah. There's a lot of distraction kind of relate to. We are trying to see, is it the same thing's going to happen when Nigerian states use that opportunity to unleash the genocide they did either 50, 60 years ago, which makes sense, and our comrade, a formidable comrade, Mazi Kekoda, he made a vital point, for us to be strategic, like you said it, because even the use South Africa as an example. You can remember Mandela when he was in one of the Western media television. They're trying to ask him to make him to condemn late Arafat. But you can see his response, to make them to believe that the West do not see their friends I'm trying to remember how he put it, like, say, you cannot make them to be enemy of whom you choose to be your enemy.
You're quite correct.
You know, that cannot be our enemy, something like that. And you can see that a lot of Arab world really supported them, you know, and these are the things, when you look at, you tend to be more strategically. But the point, where the angle I'm looking at is when Donald Trump made his statement or broadcast yesterday, you know, he encouraged Iranian citizens to use this opportunity to take their country back. And that's the angle I'm looking at it. Are they really divided? Because that's the angle I'm trying to, you know, equate it to our own. Like, Mazi has educated us enough to know our external enemies. You know, we know Nigerian state being led by Fulani and some elements in the Yoruba land. You know, we understand that, and some Western countries that are giving them diplomatic cover, and some of them that have economic interests, that we are neutral, you know, because of their economic interests. We understand that, but we have never took time to understand our own internal enemies as well. You know, we are aware of that. That is very hard. Once you are outsider, it is very hard for you to divide us. That's why when someone is expelled or being suspended, there's nothing you can say any IPOB member will listen to, because we understand that strategy, that enemy can able to try to divide us. So when Donald Trump made that statement on Iran, so I was like, these people, I know they have already seen America, Israel as an enemy. Is there some element of them that see otherwise that Donald Trump is talking to? Or is it the same people who has always chanting, dead to this, dead? Is it, you know, I'm trying to figure that out, you know. Are they aware that they have internal enemies as well? Just like we on our own. We are not aware of that. You can see, you can use example of case study of this guy in Finland, Simon, how our people, you know, ignorantly fall for that. A guy that was displaying, drinking and doing some content. And so that can tell you that our people are not really aware of that. That really hit me hard. I say, how can our people fall for this kind of thing? You know, and that's why the enemy has even capitalized on that, creating all this mushroom, you know, groups attaching themselves to us, you know, trying to derail, trying to distract what we are doing, because our people have no knowledge of these internal enemies, which Obasanjo has even,
Mazi,
which Obasanjo has even told us about. They use Igbo against Igbo, and Gowon made this comment, and our people still not aware of that. Sorry, gone.
Okay, don't go, stay be there. I always want us to be objective, and that is one thing I have tried to push on this platform. If we think we cannot be internally penetrated, we are dishonest to ourselves. Destabilization of a people do not effectively have a strong footprint where there is information about psychological operations. You get what I'm saying? If you want to, you see, the best way to undermine a people or a man is to take those areas, pull him out from where he's familiar to an unfamiliar environment. You have already destroyed him. One of the unfamiliar environment we have is that our people still do not understand cognitive psychological war. They do not understand psychological operation, you know, mind manipulations and all this. Our people understand that you are actively fighting when you are shooting AK-47. And they refuse to understand that the modern warfare, Iran does not have soldiers in Tel Aviv, in Haifa, but their missiles are reaching those places. Israel, IDF does not have a full soldier in Tehran, but their missiles are in Tehran. The same way America. So if anybody is bragging that he has AK-47, you are even addicted. In modern warfare, people can destabilize you without entering your region. In modern warfare, people can poison your mind to hate yourself and hate the project you stand for. That is part of the modern warfare. And that is one thing we try as much as possible in our limited time, because we do not have all the time for ourselves, to educate us on this reality. So when you look at Iran, for instance, you did mention that you were amazed if they were actually divided. Who was Trump sending the signal to? It is simple. In Iran, they also have ethnic divides. There are Iranian Jews and other ethnic compositions. There are also Iranians who have also traveled, who have traveled to US, traveled to Europe, and got a liberal ideology. That's why most Gulf states do not allow members of their controlled family to school outside their region, because they know that when they get to Europe, Western intelligence agency will target them, expose them to Western liberal system of life, push them back to their society, to control their society, introduce a different kind of idea that will rupture the system internally. Are you there with me? So,
yes, I'm there.
So there are Iranians who have also traveled outside Iran. They were recruited by secret services of Western nations and encouraged to come back to their society and start impregnating. It's a long-term project. The difference between them and us is that we are not patient. And that's why we are struggling. We don't even have, you see, when we say, okay, let us have a 10 years projection plan. Let us have a policy we want to achieve within 10 years. So many of us will be saying, 10 years is too much. But whether you like it or not, you will still be alive. The 10 years will be staring at you. Plan, make. Nothing you have in the hand. So until we start being disciplined to pursuit, we will not have a lot of. So when you come to Iran, already, some of these Iranians have already been shipped down to Iran, hypnotized, inculcated with Western liberal ideology, which is antithetical to a closed Islamic system. These are the people Americans are talking to. And also, if you look at our struggle, for instance, when you hear Gumi saying to you, let us use Igbo use against IPOB, they also have people they believe they have also reached in contact with. These are people they are sending signal. One day we spend time to talk about signal, the place of signal. Countries sometimes when they speak, those the signals are for have already understood it. You might be wondering, who are they speaking to? But there's not the existence of this. But they know who they are speaking to. So that is what it is.
Okay, Mazen. Yeah, thank you. You touched even the area I wanted to touch, because when I first said that Mazen made us to be aware of our external threat. But right now, the challenge which we are having, which you said that we cannot eradicate it or erode it, but at least we can do our best to minimize it, and which is what we are currently trying to educate our people at the moment. Why did I say that? Like, let's use IPOB for, a case study now. I remember when Ucheme fallout, there is nothing he says that any of us take serious. Whether it's true or not, we do not take it serious. But if he was an insider, we would have started asking questions. And you can see that this clown from Austria, there is nothing he says or talk any of us take serious, because he is now an outsider. And these are the things, and you can imagine that when Mazi educates us on external enemy, we are able to use it to achieve, to impact that knowledge on our people. The majority of our people right now
know the external threats. Who are those external threats? Where the angle they are coming from.
Okay, Mazi.
I believe it is our own duty now. Yeah.
Mazi, let me I shouldn't have said this, but because of the time have almost elapsed, I just have to say it. You know, in 6 years ago, that was 2020, then Onyendu has not been kidnapped. I wrote an article which I shared. Some of you on my platform might have read it. And in that article, I posited, there was something I wrote. I said, we have to push on Christian genocide. I don't know if you came across that article on my wall 6 years ago.
Yeah.
You
2019, I think.
Yes, I wrote that. Now, let me not tell you, and also tell Biafra. That article you saw, I wrote from what the leadership of this movement asked some of us in the media to program the minds of our people to push. 6 years ago. It was official position. Nobody knew about Christian genocide. It has never come. But 6 years ago, the leadership have, then Onyendu was aside. The leadership have objectively mapped out how to bring international attention in Nigeria. Nobody knew it could have been. That article you saw I wrote was, it was an imported policy. Years policy, future policy of the leadership. They said, everybody in the media, let us start hammering it. It was a policy. Most of us never knew. When did it mature? It matured last year. This is how movement works. This is how organization works. Now, at the time of that, by the time this great journey is concluded and our nation is restored, a lot of things are going to be reviewed. At the time, this leadership had to use non-struggle arms to even pursue that objective. Most of you might not know the story of Screwdriver, but these are for future learning because every detail will be on. It will be made bare. Now, at the time, the same Nigerian state intelligence started mobilizing people within us to start attacking Christians as a counter push to the length and width that the leadership correspondences have reached to a lot of global. Most of you do not know why China, Britain and all the rest of them have not taken it as a bold step to condemn that there is no Christian genocide, because the leadership even sent them correspondence at their mama for witness purpose. At the time, Nigeria started recruiting some of us to start, Christian. I may start threatening Christians so that they can have enough. They wanted the leadership to absorb those people, claim that those people are part of us, then they will gather it to counter what the leadership have presented in the world. What did the leadership do? The leadership fired some of these idiots as a way of disassociating herself, because she has a project. She has a project she wants to achieve. And those you see them talking, hey, I got my Bible, I got born. We knew who recruited them. We knew the dimension they were coming. And the healthiest thing the leadership did was to expel them. Most of you, out of sentiment and emotion, you started talking, I take it. But you never knew. You never knew that it was a colossal target on the level at which the leadership for the past 7 years has projected a strategy for herself. So until we understand how these things work, if it was a leadership that lacks intelligence gathering and never were confused, most of you would have, the likes of Metu would have even been absorbed and praised. And that is where we would have shot ourselves on the foot. Ndeo.
Omar, thanks for this piece of thought you put up together. But we are still saying the same thing, because So that it's not for us that are in IPOP, we are aware of these things, but when you look at some, we know we can't, like you said, you can't eradicate them.
Yeah.
You know, because we are still asking the question, where are those people that are the haters of Mazi? Where are they now? We know where to find. Everybody has strong lovers of Mazi. And we understand the same haters are now people gathering to hate the leadership of IPOP. But some of our people might fall victim of that. You know, and that's where we are kind of calling it of a duty to educate our people to understand that ideology divides us. You know, if you haven't got this kind of ideology, you are not one of us. You know, you have been bought over. And these are the things I was trying to emphasize for us to know, you know, the moles within us. Who, because you answer Emeka, does not mean Emeka believe in your ideology. So we have to be able to emphasize this so that our people will not fall these victims. You know, thank you, Mas.
I really appreciate your call time. So that is what we are saying. Remember, in the next 20 minutes, we'll be coming to an end of this program because we have other things to go in for. The S program, IPOBS program, where we discuss intellectual pact issues. So I believe that program starts by 5. By 5, all of us will be there. Okay. I get back to Mazi Patrick. Patrick, he came.
Hello?
Maz, are you there?
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, I was sending you a message on the comment section. I wanted to come live with you, Maz.
Oh, I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that.
Okay. So I don't know if I will just briefly talk to our people.
You can.
Okay, I will do that.
Our people are listening. Our people are listening. You're online already.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Maz, you know, sometimes we don't value what we have. We don't value what we have, and that is the reason we always find it difficult to have breakthrough. We always find it difficult to really make progress because, in truth, we do not value what we have. And I used to be like that while I was back in the zoo, where we do not, and that is the problem of the Africans generally. Africans do not value what they have, and that is why the world will continue to exploit us. You know, and when you come to this part of the world, everybody, even crippled people, even people with disability, are given attention. They try to get the best out of even people with disability. I take care of people with disability, and I know how they carry them. Even people with a disability that cannot communicate, every day they say them, when they do not have the capacity to learn, but they continue to instill in them continuous teaching. Everybody is inculcated. Every detail is taken into consideration. Why am I saying this? When you look at the program you brought forward today, my brother, this is a high-level global intelligent discussion that most diplomats, so-called diplomats, does not have even the insight that you are bringing on board to our people. But at the end of the day, they do not appreciate it because they don't even understand. They lack the ability to understand. You know, so that is why it's very, very important that our people should start appreciating each and every one of us, no matter how even stupid the opinion is, no matter how stupid the analysis is, we should learn to pay attention. There are so many things that you laid out in this program from when I started following you. And you talked about how how the local entities can take advantage of this global crisis to handle internal issues. For example, like this issue of Biafra struggle. It gives opportunity for certain criminalities to be perpetrated in certain quarters, especially with this ISIS encroachment.
Yeah, they can easily spam now. They can easily spam.
Yeah, exactly.
Uninterruptedly spam.
Exactly. And that is why it is important that our people must pay attention to their environment, because this is the kind of opportunity these organizations are looking for. These are the kind of opportunity.
Exactly.
So when you talk about, when we even talk about strategy, you cannot be talking about making a global strategy when you leave your local environment porous.
You're quite correct.
We should focus. Maz, I don't know if I'm communicating.
Live and clear, you're really communicating.
We must pay attention to our local environment, because we cannot be talking about what is happening in Iran, in America and Israel and in the Middle East while we leave our home front open. We must develop, the strategy must be, how do we look after ourselves internally first of all, because
you're quite correct.
You know, so our focus should be about protecting ourselves internally. That should be our first point of call. And I believe that the leadership of IPOB and the IPOB globally should give more details to what is happening in Biafra land at this point in time, within the Nigerian security system, within all these terror groups, the movement that is happening on our roads, how trucks are moving from the north to the south. We must pay attention. Very, very, very important. Because everybody is focusing on the global stage. It will open the door for local terrorist groups, Fulani headsmen, even the Nigerian security forces, to perpetrate crime, to take advantage of what is going on now to achieve certain aims. That should be the best strategy at this point in time, because we do not have any role to play in the war that is happening in the Middle East now. We do not have any role to play there. The role that we have to play is in the home front. In the home front. Now, there is something I want to point out very, very clear. The war in Iran is going to be between Iranians in the diaspora and the regime, this regime in Iran, because the Western government, especially United States, have already trained a lot of Iranians to fight their own government. In fact, the fight is not just going to be between America and it's not going to be between America and Iran. It's going to be between Iranians themselves. They are going to equip and empower Iranians who are pro-Western to fight internally. You can see many of them online coming out to make videos, coming out to plead for America to support them. You know, so if today that America have already started enacting certain territories within Iran, which means they're already mapping out people they are going to equip to fight the central government from inside. So all the bombs you are seeing flying in the air is just distraction. These are just distraction. The real fight is going to happen within the Iranians themselves internally, because with the American projection is to change this government and put in a government that will install a new government that will be pro-Western. America is not interested in war with Iran. They want to change it. They want to change government. They want to change administration. They want, and Donald Trump understands that he has a very short time in office, And this, they cannot afford to miss this opportunity because this has been a decade-long war. When you look at the speech of Donald Trump, he made reference of 1979 of the attack of American embassy in Tehran. That is to tell you that the record, these people are not forgetting what happened 47 years ago. The reference was made two days ago. Maz, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes. Okay, Maz, maybe you will be rounding up so that other callers will also get them in.
Okay,
they
thank you very
be,
much. Let me just round up. Let me round up. Thank you for the time you've given me.
Okay, let's, someone, Obuefi has been calling, but we'll soon be rounding up because we'll have a program. So in the next 20 minutes, we'll be rounding up. So I'm trying to call others who have been trying to reach us out. Okay, let's have him here. Okay, so that is a wonderful contribution from Mazi Patrick. He came. Okay, are you there, Mazi?
Hello, am I on?
Yeah, you're on, and the world is listening to you. Please go ahead.
Man, awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so privileged to be on with you. What a brilliant young man you are. Well, let me speak in English. So I managed to, stumble over an X space. I believe it was yesterday, being hosted by somebody, Somadina and Methuselah. Mm-hmm. And their gripe, I don't know, but I kept hearing something. I randomly stumbled onto that. And I kept hearing him saying, let's work together. And then along the way, I heard that Somadina guy said that he's in the leadership. So I'm scratching my head. What kind of a leadership person is talking to Methuselah and hosting an X space with them? But anyway, I don't know. But one of the things I got is that the reason is that they say the leadership is not doing enough. That they're not doing enough based on the recent report by Riley Moore. That Riley Moore did not mention separation. And somebody even said, they have videos where things have been discussed and there was no presence of the leadership. So, and I keep scratching my head the way I people reason. So, you want us to leave the DOS, because whenever they say leadership, I know they're talking about DOS. So they want us to leave DOS and now file behind Avid or whoever they are. We've been in this struggle for 13 years or so. That means a lot. Foundations have been laid by the leadership. Connections have been made. Diplomatic engagements have been established. So are you trying to create the whole thing doesn't make any sense to me. And at the same time, the Somalian guy said, so I came on I asked them, so this thing you guys are saying that leadership is not doing enough, and the guy said he's in the leadership. Don't you have access to channels with which you can communicate to the leadership what we are not doing enough that we should be doing? And what are the things, if you may share, that we should be doing that we're not doing that doesn't amount to enough? And the fact that the Riley Moore didn't mention Biafra doesn't necessarily mean that the leadership is not engaging the U.S. And by the way, U.S. is not obliged to help us. U.S., like every other nation, everybody's fighting for their own interests. So if Biafra being independent is not in the interest of the U.S., I don't expect them to help us. That's why we should have plan A, B, C.
Oh.
And by the way, Middle Belt has always been the primary objective of the intervention. It was the Middle Belt also have their own engagement. It's just that our voice helped them to become to the forefront. So you can't use that to determine that, oh, the leadership is not doing enough. And I don't want whatever the leadership is doing to come and tell us in the open. They will say, oh, they're supposed to tell us. No, they're not supposed to tell us. You don't want Trump to come and tell you what the CIA is working in the background. That's what I just wanted to mention. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for that contribution. Our people have an attitude, very terrible attitudes. For instance, I am Chika Austin, and I have a platform where people listen to me. There are so many of us who would have believed, oh, if they are Chika Austin, they should have the prerogative to give out order to our people, start posing that posture that I know it all, I can now, have a group like some of us do. When they see 10,000 followers, the next thing we say, they write Chick Austin and Friends group. These are useless things. Or when they think they have up to 60 people listening to them, they now believe they can order. They can reflect public decision. No, it doesn't work that way. If every one of us are, because people listening to you, I'm coming back to you shortly. If every one of us, because of people listening to you, then you can infer, I can decide, I can talk, and I believe people listening to you, it doesn't make sense. We are all assets under a leadership. Let us understand that. If you're discussing religion perfectly, let us do it under leadership. This is how countries take people serious. I can't say because Chick Austin, people listening to me, I talk geopolitics. Then tomorrow I want to bring myself to a height where I believe and of course our people are terrible. That is why whenever I wrote something and it comes to happen, I always tell our people this is an act of gathering information. It's not prophecy, because our people have this mentality of celebrating people. Because by the time I tell you now that Onyenwai Gwaramoko Oseblowa told me, you people will say, 6 years ago, but I have told you time without number. This is as a result of 1, intelligence gathering, 2, I gather fast based on things I read, and I say this is where the future is going to be. It's not a prophecy. On what more anything. Because why we tell you this is that our people have attitude of when somebody is with some level of intelligence or prowess, mental prowess, then he's worthy to be celebrated or taken a high roof. Then if the person messes up, because man by nature is vulnerable. When Ekwensu Banyonya messes it up, they say, disappoint. He disappointed not by his making, it's by your own wrong attitude to followership. Because so many of you will believe, who are maybe people listening to Chick Austin, call to his program, no mega arrive. We don't. Let us be an asset under a control channel. Then the world will take us serious. And they will call up, sorry for keeping you down much. You can have the platform.
All right, thank you, Marvin Chika Austin. I have been in and out of your program today, but I think, first of all, I'm happy for your explanation. But I want to put up some certain things out here for our people to see. I'm not going to take too much time.
Please do.
But we all should understand that whenever we wrestle with the pig, you get dirty. And beside that, the pig enjoys it. Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to say here is that I don't want to use the harsh word on somebody created by God. But however, I want to point out this to our people. The South is the South. Every place in Biafra land has been highly infiltrated. Take this or leave this. I was discussing with some key stakeholders precisely in Imo State, and unfortunately, they told me some certain things that they Fulanese uses arrow to write on the wall, showing directions on our paths. This is just one of the things we have noticed from the security point of view. When I discuss with a person, unfortunately, I'm not able to mention the person's name here, but that is great worrisome. If you recall what is happening in the Middle East today, we might be looking at it as if it's happening in the Middle East. However, all these are interrelated. It's all right. All these are interrelated to what we are seeing in Biafra land today. So the first thing here is that indirectly in Nigeria, jihad has been declared. If you hear Gumi statement today,
I just wanted to call our people attention to what Gumi said. Please go ahead.
So if you see, Gumi said the supreme leader should count himself lucky that he died in jihad. What that simply means is that jihad has been indirectly declared. If you look at the Middle East conflict today, it boils around religious conflict and existence here. This is exactly what is being playing in Nigeria. And if you look at the key actors in the Middle East, it's still the key actors in Nigeria, Israel, and the United States. I fear for the stability of Nigeria, especially those our brothers and sisters living in the north. What they should do right now is, one, they should be careful on what they do. If they could, let them relocate their business back home. Onyendu has been stating this countless times, on and off, that we should relocate back to the east or to where that is safe. I don't want to dive deep on what happened in 1967, how we are being killed, even in Benue State today. That is why sometimes when we are trying to do some certain things, and if I hear Benue man speak, I get irritated, because they still have that grievances about us, but that's a discussion for another day. However, we should take the security of our people right now very seriously, because we are highly infiltrated, and once jihad is being declared completely in Nigeria, that will be a full-blown war. It's just a matter of them declaring this, and Fulani and the terrorists knows this. This is what they are planning. If it weighs back to Abuja Declaration 1989. Thank you. That's just what I want to add. So I won't take much of your time.
Thanks so much. Before we come to the end of this program, I have a caller that I've been repeatedly calling, but I don't know why. Mazo Buefi, I don't know if you're still there. I had wanted to call so that we can hear your contribution. Then we come to the end, because we are going to S program shortly. Maz, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am here.
I sincerely apologize for your effort to be here, but time couldn't let me, so I have to come to you. Happy New Month and happy Sunday.
Happy New Month, Olusi.
I hope you are not not fed up with various attempts to get in that we are not really there. So sorry for that. Okay, the platform is yours.
Thank you very much, Madam Austin. I've been listening a bit up and on anyways, but I've been listening. As usual, very wonderful analysis. I love to listen to you. I love to hear your analysis. And each time I do, I am, 100 times wiser when it comes to global politics and, how it applies to us. My thoughts, I don't know if somebody has shared that before. If you have, but this is what I've been thinking concerning what is happening. Like you said, when the last caller was speaking to you concerning the statement of Sheikh Gumi, it gets me thinking. I saw the statement of Sheikh Gumi. I saw the post from many northern Muslims and even some southwestern Muslims, in support of the Ayatollah and things like that. And it gets me thinking, isn't El-Zazaki a Shia Muslim? Wasn't Shiaism what he was propagating? I need you to help me on
yes,
that.
That
Am
is,
I wrong? Or
you're right. That
was,
is
right?
Yeah.
Good. So he was projecting Shiaism. He was, let me even say, one of the, he might not be a pioneer, but he's one of the leading leaders of Shiaism in his own time. And yet, Buhari fought him to a standstill, unalive a lot of them. And so many of these Izala movement members, including Gumi and the rest of them, who, I don't even know how to put it, they are against this man.
Because Izala is a Sunni. Izala is Sunni movement.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Izala is Sunni, And then they are against this man on principle that they are Sunni Muslims. And today, they are aligning with a Shia leader in Iran. They are posting all over the internet in support of Shiaism in Iran. At home, they clap at the death of Shia members. In fact, it was Mazin Namdekan who was even very voice-forward against the attack on Shia Muslims, including stoning them, shooting at them in Abuja, the capital city, as well as what happened in Kaduna.
Yeah.
And these people never spoke against him. I am saying this because a lot of people get carried away about religion. Sheikh Gumi is a scholar. He knows the fundamental difference in terms of doctrine between Shia and Sunni. And yet, he's supporting now what is happening in Iran. He's supporting Ayatollah. He's saying he died in jihad and all these things, trying to draw sympathy. I just wish that our people will grow to the point that they will know how to position their religion, their belief system, systematically in the international politics. I do not want Biafra land to be a one-religion state, and it can never be. But whatever religion you are practicing, how do you position it to benefit from the global politics? That is one point. On the other hand, I don't think, because I know so many of us who want to be hearing from leadership, maybe supporting this or that, I do not think that we should expect that, because IPOB is not a religious movement. It has never been. And we are not going to align or not align with anybody based on belief system, based on how many people are killed in either way. I mean, over 3 million women and children were starved during the Biafran War.
Mm-hmm.
The world did not support us because 3 million people were starving. They stuck to their policies. They stuck to whatever they have projected as their own international policy as it relates to whichever country. They stuck to that. So we should take away morality, take away religious belief, and stay put. And I will go as far as saying it doesn't matter who support us during 1967 and 1970. It doesn't really matter. Today, we are in a different battlefield. Who supports us today is whom we shall support, irrespective of how many people he or she are, that country or that government has unalive either way. We do not care. And we should not care as a people. If you like, kill 6 million people today, support us tomorrow, we will align with you. That is how I see it.
Based on current reality. Based on current reality.
Exactly.
But that does not also erase history.
No, it doesn't, of course. If you support us before and you see supporting us today, kudos to you.
Yeah.
You support us before, and today you turn against us, actively turn against us. I mean, it erases reality, it erases history as far as I'm concerned. Because that's the reality of today. If you are passive today, I mean, you supported us before, maybe we can also be passive towards you. But if you are actively against us today, I think we should actively not align with you. We don't have to be against you, but we may not align with you. That is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I don't speak for IPOB as an entire group. But me as a person, that's what I think we should be looking at. We should support, because if you go on social media, it is like as if it's America, Christian, Iran, Muslim, but no, we should disentangle that from it and focus on the reality, because that's what the world is looking at. Which one will benefit us? Which one is really there for us? And we go with that. Put morality aside. When you go to religious issue and our churches, and we can talk about morality and, but here is politics.
I really love it when people speak objectively, realistically. It really amazes my soul, to be honest with you. So I really want to appreciate every single one of us that called in. We are rushing to S program. We have about less than 3 minutes to do about justice on S program, and I wish you join us. So I thank you for your time. Your times are really amazing. And I want us who have educated ourselves. People called in, I suspected so that it must be Mazi Obasi that called, because when Mazi Obasi, I have to save your contact now. Mazi Obasi is in charge of our S program. He's one of the intellectually packed fellow. The person that just finished speaking now is a special breed, I must tell you. He's a man I love listening to whenever he speaks on S. So Mazi Obasi, I will be dropping this program so that we can come and listen to you on S program. Mazi Obasi is one of the assets we have in this struggle. A super intelligent fellow. So I appreciate us. Thanks, and have a best of the